Welcome back to Île de Bezençon, everybody, especially all the new arrivals from the MV Caledonia. Could Ross Middleton report to customs, please? Ross Middleton?
Hello, Internet, and welcome. Ellie calling. Here we are once more on the beautiful Île de Bezençon, where it's still early May. The sun is shining, the cloud cover is light and dappled. Coffee and local beverages are free and plentiful, but we have a strangely restrictive policy on musical imports. Every Eurovision fan who comes here is only allowed to bring 8 Eurovision songs for the duration of their stay, and here at the customs desk, I really want to know why it's that specific 8, and I generally want an anecdote for each song. For some reasons that have something to do with somebody called Sue Lawley, I also have to offer them a Eurovision luxury, which will take it as it comes. And unlike other castaway destinations, we don't give you the Bible and Shakespeare. We give you Waterloo and Volare, neither of which are in blank verse. So here comes a castaway. What's your name?
Hello, I'm Ross Middleton, and I write my Pif Paf Blog.
And that's your connection with the Insight crew. You are one of the legendary Friends of the Parish.
Indeed, I count myself incredibly lucky to be considered a friend of the parish. So I hang about on the periphery and get called up for jukebox juries and the like when the need is there, and I'm happy to provide opinions on Eurovision every year.
Do you know which parish it is and who's the head vicar?
Well, Ewan would be the head vicar, I presume. He would be the overseeing the parish, and I presume all of you are the lovely council, and we are just the hangers-on there for the scraps when they're there for the taking.
I think I might be a deacon.
As long as it's not Deacon Blue.
Straight into the Scottish music references. Okay, so let's get started on this paperwork then. Your first record, which is traditionally an origin story. Mm-hmm. Let's see here. Starting with a winner. The UK's 1997 song Love Shine a Light by Katrina and the Waves. And that was Love Shine a Light by Katrina and the Waves. Ross, let's hear your story.
So this is my first winner. This is my very first memory of the Eurovision Song Contest. I was 6 years old at the time, watching television in my granddad's house in the Wirral. And I can remember, I don't particularly remember the contest itself, but I just remember the scoring. Seeing the 12 points come in again time and time for the UK, thinking, we're really good at this. Little did I know for the next 20 years that wouldn't be the case, but...
Jade Ewan.
Blue. Jessica Garlick. But yeah, they've been few and far between since, but this song then is my first one. This is my first Eurovision. We then sang the song, we got taught it in music lessons at school, so it kind of hammered that home to me then that it was an important song, it was something to treasure. And it's still, when you listen to it now, it's so evocative. It kind of, to me, feels like what Three Lions must be like to an England football fan, because it just takes you back 20 years ago to a time when we're much more successful, when there was much more hope. And every time I listen to it, I kind of think, oh yeah, we could win Eurovision this year, regardless of what song the UK is sending. It still gives you that hope and that belief because it's so uplifting.
Three Lions is a weird comparison because that's a song about remaining upbeat in the face of constant failure. But Love Shine a Light, well, we refer to it as the real national anthem.
Absolutely. Please rise to the national anthem. And it does feel that way. It does feel that when you're at Eurovision, so when I was at Stockholm, it does feel like that's the representative for the UK, regardless of what the song we're sending that year. That feels like the standalone kind of beacon, if you will, of hope. I'm sounding very bombastic, but because that's when I first went to Eurovision 2 years ago at Stockholm. The standout moment was a concert in the Euro Village, and a number of other winners and previous Melody Festival and contestants. But closing the show was Katrina, no waves, but Katrina with Love Shine a Light. And it just, that moment felt so magical. Just 19 years having started as a little boy and then kind of gradually watching every year, interest growing to something, you know, then watch semi-finals, and then you do national finals, and then you're there for the first time in the bubble, and you're there with people you've met for the first time, people that I'm friends with from my friend that I was staying with in Sweden. We went to university together, but we bonded over our love of the contest, and that was just, then hearing that song on the stage was a memory like no other.
Going back to the scoring sequence, there is something very exciting about a Eurovision scoring sequence. Mm-hmm. And I don't think we're the only people to think that, because you can just get the isolated scoring sequences as YouTube videos.
Yes, you can. I was watching one on train here.
Even when you know the result, it's still a tense and exciting watch.
It is. It absolutely. And it's joyous, especially when it's a spread kind of year, to see the different countries receive the 12 points. Because although obviously the winner gets their one big moment of glory, when countries, even if it may be from your neighbours or what have you, as long as you get that 12 points, you get your little moment when the cameras are on you, you're in the green room celebrating. It's such a lovely moment to see all these different countries, that little moment of joy. I think we got 12 last year from Australia, I think.
Something like that.
And I think we got 12 from Malta the year before. And I remember, because I watched, when we were in Stockholm, we were in the telly too, in the arena next door, when we got those 12 points. It was magical, because it's like, yes, we're there, the United Kingdom, get it. And we ended up sinking to the bottom of the table, obviously. But that moment is there, and Katrina obviously got repeated 12 points, so that hammered home that message to me as a tiny little boy, going, this is interesting, this is exciting, and then it grew from there.
What do you think about that split to the Melody Festivalen style split of the jury and the televote? Because I think that it takes the classic Eurovision voting sequence, which was already pretty exciting, and adds that final 2 minutes of total madness.
It has massively enhanced it, because you, as you say, you still got the traditional, you still got all the going to the spokesperson, the standard pleasantries, what a wonderful evening we've had, here's the 12 points. So you still get all that pageantry and all the tradition we associate with Eurovision. But then, as you say, those last few minutes, you go, what the hell is happening? Songs that were, like, I think it was Australia last year, were fourth in the juries, and then with the second name read out, and you just saw them kind of slowly go down. And then
there were 30 seconds where I was like, but we can't go to Chisinau, there's not enough hotels.
I mean, obviously last year Portugal won televote and jury, so it wasn't quite, but the year before, the first year they did it, the 2016, between the Australia, Russia, Ukraine, that makes the excitement in the whole that evening. I've never felt it anything like it, because everybody, thousands of people at one, were tense and oddly quiet.
Yes.
It's very strange to hear a quiet noise en masse, just people on edge, and it really ramped up the excitement of the eventual winner.
And of course, the 2018 voting sequence was particularly exciting.
Yes, it was.
Gosh.
Well done to you.
Winner.
San Marino. Calling it now.
Yes, it's always early May on Île de Bezençon, but early May in which year, we don't know. So Katrina in the Waves, it made you as a fan.
Yeah.
And it consolidated you as a fan on the ground.
Absolutely.
I think as an origin story, that is perfectly acceptable. So Katrina in the Waves, in.
Wonderful. Excellent.
Let's move on to your second song. It's another winner. It's not Love Shine a Light. It's Lordi's fabulous Finnish hard rock Hallelujah.
Not quite an angel, the one that feel. Now choose to
A lovely bit of the old Schlager metal there. That was Lordi with Hard Rock Hallelujah. Tell us why you like this one.
I am not a metal fan. I am going to put that out there now. This is not a genre that would normally appeal to me. The reason this song appeals to me, as you point out, is that it is just Schlager. It's got everything you want there from a traditional kind of, if you want to, that's Eurovision. I mean, even featured in the Love, Love, Peace, Peace, they were there. This song just... Again, it comes down to the voting. This was obviously in the mid-2000s when a lot of the Eastern European countries were winning, and rightly so, with the songs at the time. And then one song came along for a country that had never won, and just everyone, and as a continent, everyone went, yep.
We'll have that.
That's winning this year, because it was just joyful. Again, it's all these songs that I'm picking bring me joy. I admit my musical taste, as you're about to find out as this episode progresses, probably isn't objectively the finest.
Dude, I've seen worse.
Okay, I'm glad. Excellent. But all these songs I've picked are ones that make me smile, and the ones that are the reason that I keep coming back to the contest every year. And Lordi, every bit of the key changes, the vocals are beautiful. The wings as they rise up for the building moment. Top hat, even just with the Finnish flag on it.
Fire guitar.
It's just wonderful as a spectacle. It's an amazing stage show for 3 minutes. I think 2006 was probably one of the stronger years in the 2000s. But Lordi rightly blew everything away.
Were you disappointed to see that Lordi started taking their masks off?
Have they started to take their masks off?
Yeah, you can see what some of them look like now.
I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to look.
It's like finding out what the actors who play the archers...
No, I don't want to look at that.
No, you don't need to see that.
That's finding out Santa.
That's Lordi's real face. That's Mr. Lordi's real face.
Yes, it is, absolutely. That's thousands of years of decay that he's lived all that time. There's no man under there, is there? Surely not.
No human man.
And what I love about them as well is that they have embraced Eurovision. They keep coming back, they're appearing in Love, Love, Peace, Peace, Mr. Lordi giving 12 points for a couple of years. I love that they're not shying away from their success. They are clearly so proud to have won for Finland. And it makes me smile. I just like seeing something that on the face of it looks so not Eurovision, but as soon as you even slightly kind of look into it, go,
100% Eurovision.
It is. It's all there.
Now, you're not a metal person, and
No.
I am. And one of the important things about being a good metal band is to embrace the absurdity of what it is that you're doing. And, the absurdity of everything, really, because metal is all about... We're here, things are extreme and brutal and terrible and ridiculous. And so we will be extreme and brutal and terrible and ridiculous and make a loud noise. And to be honest, embracing the absurdity and living it is also the key to being a good Eurovision act.
Absolutely.
So, more metal at Eurovision, provided they're willing to embrace the absurdity.
Definitely.
So I think we will embrace the absurdity and accept Lordi.
Fantastic.
Okay, song 3. We have possibly Portugal's second best ever Eurovision song. I don't know. We'll do the ranking after.
Okay.
It's Flor de Lis with Todas as Ruas do Amor. And let's exercise that Portuguese pronunciation again. That was Flor de Lis with Todas as Ruas do Amor. You can tell we're going to Portugal. Okay, so tell me about your favourite Portuguese Eurovision song.
So the reason I've included this is because this would be the first year, and this is the very first song that I downloaded after the song contest. So through the Lordy years, through the 2000s at school, I would watch it every year, do scorecards with the family and friends and what have you, but it would just pass by. It wouldn't linger in the memory. It wouldn't... After that night in May, it would just stop and it would start again the next year. This song, along with another one, which I didn't include because I know you're going to give me a scornful face from that year.
Go on.
La Voix.
Actually, I quite like that.
Do you? Oh, excellent.
It's quite good in a... Well, the verses are naff.
Yeah.
I would have done something different with the verses, but the chorus...
It's a big old daft wonderful mess. It's beautiful. In
2018, when we are all loving the Pop as a Clock remix of Alina's song for Estonia, La Voix, the chorus makes perfect sense.
It does. So La Voix and this song were the first two that I took notice of and I downloaded, I kept listening to. It still takes me back, because obviously Eurovision happening in May when you're at school or at uni or college, that's exam time. And these two songs, although it's maybe not the best memory, but if I listen to either of them, it immediately takes me back to being in a computer lab at university revising for the exams that year, which is maybe not the best memory, but it does kind of take you back to all of university and everything, and the fun it has. And the song itself is delightful.
What were you studying?
Studied journalism, which I never intended on using. My aim was always to be an actor, but my parents wanted me to get an inverted commas proper degree, so I did journalism. But I just spent 4 years drinking and pretending to be an actor on the stage. So never really followed it through until now. And it's the first time, in 5 years since, that I'm starting to use it for the blog. But Fleur de Lis, the colours of the performance, the stage show, those were and then La Voix with the stage show as well, they just stuck in my head. They were the first two that went, oh, I could listen to that the whole year round. And then that snowballed. So next year and from every year, hence my kind of fandom has grown from there to sitting here now discussing these songs with you. I watched it on the train coming down yesterday, and it just makes me feel, I've got that warm, fuzzy feeling. They're clearly just doing the song for themselves. It's not necessarily a contest song, as Portugal normally do. They send the songs for Portugal. That's how Festival Canção works. And it just so happens last year they lucked into everyone else went for it as well. But that's what I like, is that it's clearly true to themselves, and the song is so happy and so joyous. I'm going to use that word for every single song, I'm afraid. And it just gives me that warm, fuzzy feeling inside.
And it is so good that after all that time, Portugal were able to put on the show of their lives.
Absolutely. They thoroughly deserved it. Again, same when Finland won with Lordi previously. It's lovely to see countries that have done this for years and years and years get one break and then embrace it the way they have done. So Fingers crossed for Iceland, fingers crossed for Malta.
Fingers crossed for Georgia, fingers crossed for Armenia.
Exactly.
Okay. We will accept Fleur de Lis.
Yay.
Your fourth record, we're just hopping next door, much like the contest itself. We're hopping next door to Spain for Pastor Soler's Quédate Conmigo. And that was the stirring sound of Quédate Conmigo by Pastor Soler. Tell us the story behind this song for you.
So this, for me, is where the use of the national languages is at its absolute peak. You do not have to know the lyrics to this song to feel the pain and the anguish that Pastor Soler is conveying through the message. I remember the first time I saw this would have been in probably the recap, the 30-second clips you used to get in the semi-finals. I don't think they use a particularly good part of the song. I think it might have been just at the end of the first verse and the chorus. I can't remember, but I remember I saw it there and thought, oh, that's a bit naff. That's not really much going. And then you saw it on the final with the wind machine and the dress and the backing vocalists appearing, and it just hit me for 6. It was just mind-blowing that I didn't know a word that she was talking about, but purely through the emotion of her performance and through her voice, you could feel that real deep anguish. And I have listened to it ever since. It's one that has stuck in the rotation. It's gone into every playlist going. And when it comes on, I don't skip it. And it just... This is, I've been saying they'll bring me joy. This one doesn't. It is heartbreaking. And it is a song that I have listened to when heartbreaking moments have come in life since. And it just fits the bill perfectly. So if I'm taking this onto the Île de Bezençon, this is for a little bit of reflection and a little bit of inward looking rather than just the pure joy.
It's not a constant party on Île de Bezençon.
No.
There is space for a wide spectrum of emotions on Île de Bezençon, as at Eurovision.
Definitely.
And a diet of 100% bangers isn't good for you.
And certainly not, even though Australia would try. It's not, it's not one that I would play for other people. It's not one that I would say try and kind of wean them to Eurovision. This feels to me the song I've had the most emotional connection to. This is a song that I've revisited right the way since 2012 when it was on, and it just stirs at something inside me. So it's a song I couldn't do without now. I don't really think of it anymore as a Eurovision song. I feel it's kind of transcended that, and it's one now that I will have with me for the rest of my life, and I thank Eurovision for that. But it's gone beyond that now.
Yeah, I feel like I don't get why it's not, just a general standard that people can whack out when they want to show off how they can interpret a song. But maybe it's because nobody can do it better than Pastor.
Quite possibly so. And on that note, it was damn well robbed. I think it was end up 10th on the night. That is shocking. Given 2012 was okay, it should have done far better. It should have at least come top 5, if not higher. So I'm still a little bit bitter that it didn't
Injustice and
reach
bitterness.
its full potential.
Injustice and bitterness is one of the things that you're going to experience as a Eurovision fan.
Absolutely. I sat in my living room, I think about 2 bottles of Prosecco to the good, and cried my eyes out last year when Norma John didn't make it to the final. And they don't go away, these bitternesses. They stay with you, and these injustices, they irk and they eat away at you. They don't, you go, oh, it was fine. It should have qualified. It should have won. These don't go away.
I don't think I'm ever going to get over Verona being robbed.
Yeah.
But more about Estonia later. So, how could I possibly turn Quédate Conmigo down? Please, bring it to the island.
Thank you very
Accepted.
much. Lovely.
So, song number 5, and as previously teased, we are going for the Eurovision song that sounds most like a Bell and Sebastian song. From Estonia, it's Alina Born and Stig Rasta with Goodbye to Yesterday.
I'm pretty sure I would have told stop. Let's try again, say goodbye. Goodbye to yesterday.
I didn't wanna wake you up. My love was never gonna be enough. So I took my things and got out of the way now, girl.
Why didn't you wake me up? I'm pretty sure I would have told you to stop. Let's try again, say goodbye. Goodbye to yesterday.
And he smiled to the dog. That was Stig Rasta, Elena Bourne, and Goodbye to Yesterday. Tell us why you brought this one to the island, other than, it being good.
So this one came down to a real crunch decision for me because there are two songs from 2015, two duets. It was this or Moorland and Deborah. I thought to myself, I can have one, but I can't have both. So I had to give it serious consideration.
You've gone for the one which sounds a bit more Scottish, to be honest.
That's true, yeah, that's true. Sticking to the stereotype. But this one, again, it's not, obviously, it is in English, so you know what it's about. But the staging of this, if it wasn't in English, if it was in Estonian or any other language, you know exactly what that song is about. I remember the first time I heard this song kind of in the playlist coming through after Estee Lau and went, yep, that's my winner.
That one.
That's my winner for the whole thing. And it was right the way through until the Saturday night. It was the one I wanted to win. Again, quite a strong year. 2015 was a very good year, I thought. But again, utterly robbed. This should have been top 5 again. This should have won. It's
Should have been a Europe-wide hit.
Absolutely. It's perfect. Stig plays that cold, aloof, kind of almost mean personality on the stage really well. And Alina manages to balance perfectly the anger and the sadness of the jilted lover, and then the tear rolling down the face at the end.
I don't care if she did it with Vicks Vaporub. It was perfect.
Works. It works. If it works, do it. It's spectacular. And as you say, the lyrics, as saying goodbye to the dog, that makes me laugh whenever I hear it. It manages to balance anguish and bitterness and anger, and it has a little bit of humour. It's just sublime. It's one of those songs that when it comes on, it never gets skipped. It always gets listened to right the way through. It works on the stage. It works on the audio. There is absolutely nothing wrong with this song, and it should have.
I love
won.
how ambiguous it is, because I probably would have made you stop. That's not very.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's not saying, oh, please get back together. It's not the kind of begging. There's no desperation. I think I would have made you stay, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
There's a real mystery. It's dark. It's brooding. It's got everything.
And as an Estonian duet, so when we were talking about Verona, one of the things that robbed Verona was the way that Estonian body language and personal space cultural norms work makes it very easy for an Estonian duet to portray two people who are simmering with rage at one another. That's how it looks to the rest of Europe. That's how Verona looked to the rest of Europe, and that's how Goodbye to Yesterday looked to the rest of Europe. And it just so happens that it was kind of appropriate.
Yeah,
for
it
Goodbye to
worked for
Yesterday.
Goodbye to Yesterday. That's exact. Regardless of putting too much effort into it, they more or less conveyed the emotions perfectly, thanks to the Estonian manner. Whereas for Verona, it sadly tanked because of that. For the exact, if had you put Coit and Laura singing Goodbye to Yesterday,
That would have worked.
that would have worked perfectly fine as well. But yeah, it did not work for Verona. But yeah, that's it. It's the going back to the staging, the distance between the two at all times. Every single camera angle they use is felt. You never feel like they're going to get close. They're going to reunite through the whole song, through the whole staging. There's always that cut deliberately, you're there, and then at the very end, with the shadow of the door closing, leaving Alina on her own on the stage, looking very small because they've got the big wide shot. Oh, it hits you there. Properly gets you.
It's one. So a lot of Eurovision performances look like music videos, but that one looked like a play.
It did. It looked like a very dark 3-minute play. I go and see that at the Fringe every year quite happily.
Yep. That was kind of the end of Act 1 of the play, and in the end of Act 2, I think there's probably a knife.
Well, there is in the video, isn't
Yeah,
there? There isn't. There's the blood and bloody knife in the video.
Yes, the video is. The more I find out about Estonia, the less shocking the Goodbye to Yesterday video is.
It's all part of their culture.
The sense of humour.
Ah, okay, I'm with you.
Yeah, like if Eurovision fans who are listening to this customs process, if you have a spare afternoon and you're willing to see some stuff, what you should probably do is go to the ERR Estonian TV YouTube channel and look at some of the interstitial skits from previous years of Estilol, and there is near the edge humour there that will make you gasp.
What was the one? Was there a pig this year?
Yeah, there was a pig singing this year about how there were so many vegans that he was never going to get eaten.
And there was something in a sauna about social media.
Yeah,
is that right as well?
Yeah, like a sort of a Samuel Beckett style psychodrama about not liking a tweet.
Yeah, but all set in a sauna. Yeah, very peculiar, but added to the fun of Estilol.
Yes.
And even if you didn't necessarily understand all the jokes, the absurdity carried it through, I think.
Let's assess this. I mean, I don't think that there's any way that I could even consider chucking Goodbye to Yesterday out. I mean, like, you did have another option of Morland and Deborah, but this is the one.
This is the one.
This is the one. We'll accept it.
Yeah.
Song number 6. We have Mikkel Spack with Colour of Your Life, spelt incorrectly. The big televote fave of 2016. Would you like to explain to us why you and so many people enjoyed The Colour of Your Life?
Now, there are, as myself and so many people who enjoyed it, but I imagine there are as many people right now chastising me for choosing this as one of the 8. I absolutely adore this silly, overblown 3-minute nonsense. It is possibly one of the biggest Eurovision by numbers going. It is a theatrical guy, big costume, big high notes.
Small moustache.
Small moustache, wrong spelling of colour. I very much enjoy Schadenfreude, and I didn't like Margaret. So when Margaret didn't qualify and Mikael did, I was overjoyed because I felt Margaret was a weak live performer, whereas your boy Mick went up there and absolutely nailed it time and again.
Just national final season memes. Margaret's face. Oh boy.
A picture could tell 1,000 words from that facial expression.
But she's doing all right.
She's doing she's done fine since.
Yeah.
And then, again, this, as I mentioned previously, 2016 was my first contest, so there's always going to be a song picked from there. And there's many I could choose. To be honest, I could have picked 8 from 2016 quite happily because they all now have different memories associated. I could have happily picked Georgia because of the feeling of about 30 people in an arena holding thousands cheering for Georgia qualifying from semi 2.
It was good. I showed no grace at all when that happened.
No, I screamed at the top of my voice.
I think I might have yelled "in your face, Schlager Boys."
Yeah, there was only about 30 of us in the room, but we thoroughly enjoyed that. But the reason I chose Colour of Your Life is when it got its televote, that is my favourite moment of the scoring, possibly ever. And it was only because of the new scoring system that we saw this, that country after country got their points, and there was little Poland just sitting there with no jury points, or very little.
No jury love at all.
None at all. And probably, as subjectively, probably rightly so. And there it just, every country subsequently, and oh, it's done really well. And then it was there in the top 10, so they read out all the countries really quickly, and then each top 10 got a little vote and panned to the green room. And then it was there in the top 4 when they did the split screen of the Ukraine, Australia, Russia, the big favourites, and there he was. There was Michael, and I think it was the fourth in the public vote. And just as the country rose from second from bottom, right the way up the right-hand side, and right the way to the kind of middle of the left-hand side of the column, I went, yes.
I was so glad that whoever does the scoreboard graphics had prepared transition to go from right-hand side to left-hand side, and it looked good.
Perfectly. It was stunning. And I'm pretty sure, going back to the memes, I'm pretty sure I saw afterwards, I can't credit because I can't remember who said it, but if Poland can go from second last to fifth in the results, then you can do anything.
Yes.
And that is now my inspiration for life.
If you have the power of the Polish diaspora behind you,
you can do
anything.
And this is, going back to kind of previous entries, this is one that just gives me unbridled joy. I cannot not smile when it comes on because it's so overblown and it's so ridiculous. But it's just brilliant. It's just this happy 3 minutes of a man who is performing the living daylights out of that song. It is a naff song. I'm fully aware of it. But the way he sells, like, he's just one of the finest performers of that year and of Eurovision that I've seen. Apart from the very last note on the jury final on the Friday.
Oh, well.
Nearly perfection, apart from that one last screech, but it made me love it even more.
It's the imperfections. Okay, so you can have that, and I expect you'll be leading a rousing sing-song of it on the beach.
I will certainly attempt to.
Excellent. Okay, so number 7. I think we're going to have a bit of a problem here because you have nominated Petra Mede and Måns Zelmerlöw singing Love, Love, Peace, Peace.
I have indeed.
Fill the stage with light as dancers will join us. The expectations grow. It's time for the chorus. Love, love, peace, peace. For women baking bread. Peace, peace, love, love. And a man in a hamster wheel. Love, peace, peace, love. Make it unforgettable. You will be the best. And win that Eurovision Song Contest. Now we'll go.
It's not a Eurovision song, Ross.
It's a song performed at Eurovision.
It's not a Eurovision song.
It's a song all about Eurovision.
But it's not a competitive Eurovision song. It was never entered in a national final. It wasn't at Jesk.
Can I see the paperwork for Île de Bezençon?
Yeah, here.
Oh, yes, so I see. So I can't...
You'll find here in paragraph 6, Codicil 17, after no live animals on stage, Eurovision songs only.
Okay. I'll just have to hum it to myself every day on the island then.
We all know it. We do an a cappella rendition every Friday afternoon.
Lovely.
But yes, you're sort of right in that it's not a Eurovision song, but it is about the template of the Eurovision song. And is Is it Ewan that says it's both describing the template and breaking the template?
Might be, yeah, because it kind of wrote off every gimmick that we know of the contest since. So anyone that we've seen last year and we'll see this year, if they do a big...
Burning fake piano.
Yeah, or anything silly or remotely over the top, we just go, love, love, peace, peace.
Yeah, it's a bit love, love, peace, peace, isn't it?
It is, because Eddie Afsalen just nailed every cliche and every visual cliche, every musical one, the lyrics, all perfectly fit into that 5 minutes. It obviously, the point is, I think, of the sketch is that they sent all the songs away to be analysed and they've distilled it. But he has done that. He has distilled Eurovision down to a perfect, I think, 5.5 minutes. It put goosebumps. I had absolute goosebumps when I saw it for the first time, just going, they've got everything. They've got everything on stage and they've just done it all at the one time. And Petra and Mans have absolutely nailed it. And there's actual Reback and there's actual Lordi and there's a not actual Loreen running across the stage. And I was aghast of just how good it was, because Swedish Smorgasbord in Malmö was amazingly funny. And I remember being in the room for Semi-2 when they did That's Eurovision, the big show opening number, and I turned to my Swedish friend who I was with and went, well, how are they going to top that in the final? If they've done that in the semi, what are they going to do in the final to, oh, right, you're doing that. Okay, fair play. Absolutely, you've nailed it.
Yeah, I wasn't around for the Stockholm final, but when I first saw Love, Love, Peace, Peace at the afternoon rehearsal on the Friday before I had to disappear, that was so good.
It was such an amazing moment of every next reveal they did, every new element they introduced to the song, going, oh my God, they've got that, oh my God, they've done that, there's the piano, there's the hamster wheel, there's the Polish girls, there's the grannies.
But as well as sort of triggering those nostalgia things, it was also saying, this is gone. You cannot use this anymore. The contest has changed. These are the ones which are no longer available to use.
Yeah, it took a level up.
And if you put the scratching DJ in, dude, that's the 80s. Mm-hmm. Look at the year.
Yeah. Yeah, we're never now going to see a massive prop or a massive gimmick and not think love, love, peace, peace. That is now going to go down in folklore for the rest of Eurovision time as the hallmark, but as the full stop as well, going, now go and do something different.
And if it means that we get more weird stuff to see, I am right behind it.
Absolutely.
But what I'm not right behind is you bringing it to Île de Bezençon.
Oh.
So have a bit of a think, and you can come up with another record at the end. Okay, so on to your next song. We've got a lovely bit of lovable Icelandic daftness. We have Polapunk and No Prejudice.
Let's do away with prejudice. Don't discriminate, tolerance is bliss. We got to get together on this. Cross this problem off our list. I misstutter when I speak, but you don't need to call me a freak. It's not trigonometry. Inside we're the same.
Let's do away with prejudice indeed. Tolerance is bliss. That was Polapunk. Tell us about your love.
There are plenty of songs at Eurovision over the years that have serious messages, and more often than not, they're done in quite an earnest, heavy-handed, obvious way. With this, it still gets the message across, but it has so much fun with it, and it, rather than simply preaching, rather than a peace ballad for the 80,000th time, it's conveying a message, but it's doing it in a way that's inclusive of everybody. Obviously, they are a kids band, and that comes across in every single thing they do. But lyrically, I just love it. I can't... Again, this is joy. This is pure, unbridled joy.
Also, continuing your theme of everything being a little bit Scottish, it sounds like Franz Ferdinand.
I never thought of it that way. There are kind of elements to it like that as well. I've never actually made that connection, but I can hear that now. Have I just picked 8
Vaguely.
mystery Scottish songs?
I mean, if Fleur de Lis were doing it in Gaelic,
Yeah,
I mean,
could work.
you could imagine Lordy being from Aberdeen.
No, I'm not going to offend the people of Aberdeen by making the obvious joke there.
I'm just saying that Aberdeen has a healthy metal scene.
Oh, okay, fair enough. My head went somewhere else. I love its silly, simplistic lyrics. The one that sticks with me of all time is, or perhaps you're thinner, or one who loves his dinner.
It's not all just simplistic lyrics because,
No.
you know, there's like, it's not trigonometry.
Yeah, it does that Eurovision thing of throwing in an English word that you can go, that doesn't quite belong there, but I'm happy you've gone with it.
Yeah.
You've ran with it, you committed.
And it's better than using a cliche. It's better than Fire Desire.
Yeah, absolutely.
When we look at the sort of statistical analysis of the words used in Eurovision songs, there's a lot of, love,
Peace.
happy, not so much peace,
Oh, okay.
weather conditions, hearts. Trigonometry doesn't figure.
Doesn't quite get up there.
Yeah.
They clearly just have the absurdity, but they're conveying a very serious message, one they clearly believe in, but they're doing it in that daft way that I just think is perfect for Eurovision. And it's one that when I first saw the live performance, again, it was, yep, that's for me. That is right up my street. I even love that the chap, I think in the orange, knocks the mic stand over and just ploughs on with it.
I think he's the one that was the Member of Parliament as well.
Oh yeah, there was the Member of Parliament not one of the ones was he not the big chap with the big long beard in the background?
I don't know, but in Iceland you're either on a football team, in a band, or a Member of Parliament, I believe. And Ari from 2018 in a football team and in a band.
Really?
Yeah.
So that is the Venn diagram. That's just one perfect circle.
He's not been in Parliament yet, but you know.
He's very young. There's still time. Absolutely. He could be someone else's choice. I'm so sorry.
He could continue to be somebody else's choice. So when do you think Iceland are going to sort themselves out? Because this was the last time they qualified.
They need to bring that fun factor back. They need to just stop going for mediocrity, which I think, apart from one entry since, Svala was not mediocre, but she just wasn't for Eurovision, which is a shame, because I thought I loved Paper and I loved Svala. But the other songs they've sent since have all just been a bit drab and a bit dreich.
The Dathi Freyr would have qualified.
Yeah, absolutely. And it would have been different and would have brought something different to the contest and would have stood out. Whereas most of the songs they've sent don't stand out. Do you know who stood out? Paula Ponk. Mm-hmm. It might be because they're wearing bright, colourful suits or onesies or whatever they wore around the...
A gimmick's a gimmick.
Go with it. If you're going to do it, at least do it properly, which they did.
Yes.
They didn't do it half-heartedly. They took the gimmick and they ran with it. And fair play to them for that.
So if you were organising Song for Kepney next year, would you change it up by inviting 10 artists to do something as creative and silly as possible? You'll maybe help them bankroll it a bit. But, you know, you're aware that something's got to change and the thing that's got to come back is the fun.
Yeah. Just do what you want. Just do something different. Let's get 10, 12 songs that are completely different genres, that are all over the place musically, but do it with that heart and with that passion and with that sense of fun and that kind of impish desire for something a little bit crazy and a little bit off the wall. Bring that to the contest.
Yeah.
Because we're lacking that now. Now that with the jury system the way it is, we mainly get a lot of...
Safe.
The safe, bland, fine, but nothing outstanding.
And
Iceland could do the outstanding.
in the world of producer-led running orders, fine gets you sandwiched between two big hitters.
Yeah. Whereas something crazy and off the wall and daft, you may not qualify.
But they make space for you.
But if you do qualify,
Yeah.
Chris is going to give you a decent position in the running order.
Yeah. Okay, so in return for a nice chat about the travails of Iceland at the Eurovision Song Contest, you can have Paula Ponk's No Prejudice.
Yes.
Accepted.
Lovely.
Time for your last record, and it is time for a bit more brisk Nordic fun. It's Ida Maria with Scandi Love.
The neighborhood. Can you make love like a Scandinavian? Can you make love like a Scandinavian? Like a Scandinavian. Can you make love like a Scandinavian? Can you make love like a Scandinavian? Like a Scandinavian. I can be the fireman and you can be the pussycat. Stuck in a tree like a Scandinavian. I can be the neighbor innocently coming over for a cup of tea like a Scandinavian.
And there we go, listening to Scandi Love like a Scandinavian.
Everything I've said before for all previous 7 entries, put it all together and you have Scandi Love.
Is this your ultimate Eurovision song? It probably is, isn't
I
it?
think it is now. I think it is. It's the only song of all the national final playlists this year, listening and wading through them, trying to find something. This instantly piqued my interest. Norway was one of the strongest national finals this year. There are debates to be had about the song they sent, but those debates have been had, and that's for another time.
And the result they got was the result they got.
Well done, or commiserations on the result they got. Edit out whichever one that will end up being. But this was so unique, was so different to anything else we saw across the whole continent, that you couldn't help but sit up and pay attention when she was singing or when she was on stage or just in the playlist. It is probably, you're right now, I'm now thinking about it, it is probably going to go down as my all-time favourite from any national final, any Eurovision. That will be the one that will stick with me and will cheer me up in times of hardship. And
Will we be playing it at your funeral? Because tonally that's quite strange.
yes, as long as I can be buried in a red and white tails with circles and there are red and white beach balls being beasted round the church. I would love that. I didn't know, I to be honest, didn't know of Ida Maria before. I know that she had some significant success in the UK and across the continent previously. I hadn't heard of her, so I didn't have any expectations when I saw the name. It didn't mean anything to me. Obviously, there's other names in that list that did.
Well, you had the rest of the ESC and parish going, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
Yeah, so I knew that she was a big deal. But I still didn't know what to expect when we heard Scandi Love.
I didn't know what I was expecting. I don't know whether I was expecting Scandi Love, but like as soon as I listened to it for the first time, I was like, well, actually, this makes a lot of sense.
Lyrically, the fun that we had with Paula Punk previously, that times 1,000. Just unbelievable use of metaphors repeatedly, and then stating so at the end of the song. That kind of reminded me of the end of Nadaf's song with the reference to the 3 minutes.
3 minutes, bye-bye.
I love self-referential, just little notes. You won't want a whole song of it, but just at the end go, oh, I see what you've done there, and it's spectacular. Everyone, I have played this song to so many people at work and friends, what have you, and no one doesn't like it. Everyone I've played it to absolutely adores it. Maybe because I'm looking at them expectantly going, you better like this.
Love it.
You better, or else we're not talking anymore. But there's no one that doesn't embrace the fun, and everyone goes, oh, that would be great at Eurovision.
Also, for Ida, this was a big deal for her personally, because this is her sort of coming back to the music industry after taking like a health and family-related break for a few years. And what the exuberance, that rock show that you saw on stage, it was clearly not a Eurovision performance, because she got overexcited and fell over and couldn't see the cameras. that was a woman who was so excited to be back on stage.
It was. And the thing I love most is a thing I've never seen before. It's just constantly waving. She just kept waving during the song. I'm like 3 or 4 times she waves down the camera. It's like, yeah, we know. She's just so happy to be back and performing. And she has so much energy. Obviously, the pratfalls and the beach bowls and the costume. Okay, vocally the performance wasn't the best, but it didn't need to be, because everything else was just outstanding, and it will be the big lost song for the Eurovision Song Contest of 2018.
I wouldn't be surprised to have her back as a writer, because obviously she had Mama's Boy in 2017. She's back. Like, there'll probably be an album between the 2018 and 2019 contests, and I think that she'd probably be up for providing another song.
Going back to previously, if you want Iceland to find the fun, maybe just look across to your nearest neighbour and poach her, because there's your answer right there. There's your fun. There's your energy.
She would do that.
There's your something different. That's your qualifier. And if she can write the song like Scandi Love for someone else and get it through to the final, get it through to Eurovision, it'll sail through a semi-final, and it would...
And then we would get Ida hanging around the contest, which...
for the rest of time.
She's a fun person. The Eurovision family needs her.
Now the dear departed Lysacia has left us, we now need a new figurehead. Why not Ida Maria?
She was very good at giving us all advice. You know, in that cold snap we had in February and March?
Yes.
She was dispensing good Norwegian advice on how to dress for the weather.
Oh, I'm desperate to meet her in some capacity. I was so jealous of you all being across there, because she comes across as a thoroughly nice person, as well as being over the top and off the wall and crazy. She comes across, like, her Twitter and the posts she puts up with her son are adorable. And yeah, I want to be best friends with Ida.
Don't we all? Anyway, while we think about the wonderful Ida Maria, I will sign off your paperwork and accept Scandi Love onto the island. Thank you. Do you have a Eurovision luxury that you'd like to import?
I do. I do have something to bring with me. Now, my original idea, I listened back to a few of your previous Castaways, and the very first one I listened to did exactly what I was planning. So in my head, before I knew of Île de Bezençon, I imagined it in a kind of Swiss Family Robinson-esque, everything would need to be built, and log cabins and what have you. So I wanted to bring Henrik. But Ewan brought him last year.
He's already here.
Henrik's already here. So I would like to bring Brendan Murray's big inflatable, well, it's inflatable, but big hot air balloon.
Why? Henrik's happy.
This would be my little sanctuary. This would be where I take my 8 songs, and when Eurovision gets a little bit too much, which it can do, and you need that time away, that would be my little hidey hole.
Well, all the other inmates of Île de Bezençon would stay the hell away.
Exactly. And Henrik would probably never talk to me again, and Ola would probably...
Ola's not on the island
Has no one
yet.
brought Ola?
No.
Oh, I could have brought Ola.
Yeah. Well,
No.
I don't know. I'm hoping to get him on the island himself.
Oh, I see. As a
Legitimate guest.
Oh, I see. Okay. In that case, at the very furthest point away from you and Henrik, I will have the hot air balloon where I can unwind and relax and enjoy my 8 picks.
That's fabulous. I think I sort of already know the answer, but would you like to give a 12 points special recommendation to one of your 8 records?
I would.
Go on.
Like a Scandinavian.
Yes! Okay, so that concludes the paperwork. So before I let you go run free on the sandy beaches of Île de Bezençon amongst our half-built stage rigging tent constructions, would you like to plug anything?
Oh, yes. Well, you can find me, as I said earlier, on Pif Paf Blog. That's pif-paf-blog.com, or at ESC Pif Paf on Twitter and on Facebook as well. I will mainly just be spouting forth my opinions of the contest. Come and join me and we'll have fun. That's what it's all about.
Thank you very much, Ross. And thank you all for listening. This has been Ellie presenting Eurovision Castaways for ESC Insight.